I want to start with three figures that should send a chill down the spine of anyone paying attention to how the world really functions. 12 commercial ships captured in one sweep, 40 Russian naval units active across three different theaters, and $3 billion in assets currently locked down in Russian custody. Washington is outraged. But here is the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. This wasn't a sudden outburst of anger. It was a calculated strategy. And the most alarming part? We are the ones who showed them how to do it. Let's look at the reality of what just took place in the waters bordering Russia. In a move executed with military discipline, Russian forces launched simultaneous seizures of LNG and oil tankers across the Black Sea, the Baltic approaches, and the Arctic shipping lanes. These were American-operated vessels and Allied flagships, all detained under legal frameworks so complex that Western lawyers are still trying to untangle the fine print. The reaction from Western leaders was the usual script: shock, emergency summits, and threats of retaliation. But having watched foreign policy for years, I can tell you that this time, their surprise was genuine. And frankly, that is far more worrying than the seizures themselves. It proves that our strategic planners completely failed to predict a move that was staring them in the face. I need to challenge an assumption you likely hold about the world. You probably think international maritime law is a shield that protects merchant ships. While those treaties exist on paper, rules only matter if there is a neutral power willing to enforce them. When the enforcement itself is turned into a weapon, those rules dissolve into something else entirely. To understand this, we have to go back to late 2022. Following the invasion of Ukraine, the West rolled out what they called the most aggressive sanctions package in history. We cut off banking access, froze assets, and implemented the oil price cap. The goal was to keep Russian oil on the market but cap the revenue to drain Moscow's war funds. To Washington, this looked like a smart, calibrated precision strike. But to Moscow, it looked like the West unilaterally declaring it ran the global energy trade. We told them, you can sell your resources, but only at the price your enemies decide. And we enforced this by leveraging our dominance over shipping, insurance, and financial logistics. The ultimatum was simple: play by our rules or your ships don't move. For nearly 2 years, Russia took the hit while quietly building a backdoor. They shifted their exports to Asia. They built up Arctic shipping capabilities that analysts said were impossible. They created new financial channels to sidestep Western banks. These weren't just survival tactics. They were preparations for a reality where they didn't need Western permission. Then, in late 2024, the situation shifted from preparation to active conflict. The U.S. and its allies started physically boarding and inspecting tankers in international waters, suspecting them of bypassing the price cap. The justification was sanctions enforcement, but in practice, economic policy had morphed into physical coercion. Moscow watched and took notes. They documented every boarding and every instance where the West asserted authority over commerce. Then, in mid-December, they found their catalyst. An American-operated tanker collided with a Russian research vessel in the north, resulting in the deaths of several Russian sailors. While Washington called it a tragic accident, Moscow claimed the tanker was a spy ship and demanded it return for a criminal inquiry. When the ship refused, Russia labeled the crew as fugitives. It doesn't matter whose version of the story is true. What matters is that Russia built a legal framework to justify what they did next. By treating the incident as a crime scene rather than a military event, they created a pretext for policing actions that look like law enforcement rather than acts of war. The seizures that followed were not spontaneous acts. Russian naval units moved in sync across multiple zones, boarding and escorting 12 vessels into their harbors. The crews, hundreds of ordinary commercial sailors, found their status instantly changed to material witnesses in an ongoing investigation. They aren't technically hostages, but functionally, they have become leverage in a geopolitical standoff they have no stake in. What Russia is doing here is challenging the bedrock assumption of modern trade, that commercial shipping operates in a neutral bubble, insulated from great power conflict. They have shattered this norm by deliberately using the exact playbook the West handed them. The logic is brutally simple. If the U.S. can board tankers to enforce sanctions in open waters, why can't Russia do the same using different legal justifications? If Western systems can be weaponized to enforce prices, why can't Russia weaponize its regional military strength to enforce security? This is strategic mirroring. It forces Western policymakers to face an uncomfortable reality. Can you really dictate global rules without facing reciprocal vulnerability? The human toll is already accumulating, with families thousands of miles away having their lives upended. When commerce becomes a theater of war, it is always ordinary people who pay the price first. But here is the nightmare scenario. This precedent extends far beyond Russia. If this logic sticks, maritime shipping enters a dangerous new era. Every ship carries electronics that a hostile state could label as surveillance equipment, and environmental laws are broad enough to justify almost any stop and search. The line between security enforcement and economic hostage-taking is blurring. China is watching. Iran is watching. They are all calculating whether the West actually has the resolve to protect every potential target. We are seeing institutional order collapse not through a single catastrophic failure, but through the gradual erosion of accepted behavior. The energy markets have already learned the lesson. Insurance rates near Russian waters have spiked, rendering some routes commercially dead. Supply chains are fracturing as companies try to price in geopolitical risk, creating a strategic nightmare for nations dependent on these logistics. The deepest irony is that the sanctions designed to isolate Russia have actually created the conditions for them to demonstrate a different kind of power. It is not the power to compete financially, but the power to impose chaos and force adversaries to operate in permanent uncertainty. This is desperation dressed up as strategy, but that makes it even more dangerous. Russia knows it cannot win by Western rules, so it is attempting to change them entirely. What should disturb us most is our own failure to see this coming. We assumed we could inflict economic pain without facing physical retaliation. That was wishful thinking, not strategy. Now we are at a crossroads. Either we negotiate clear boundaries, or asset seizures become standard practice. Those 12 ships in Russian custody are markers of a transformation that will reshape global trade for years. They are proof that the stability we took for granted was always more fragile than we believed. Stay attentive and stay engaged, because the determination of whether ships sail freely or sit seized in foreign ports is happening right now.